Today is October 7th. Welcome on in to Daily Cards, the postseason edition here on ClaibsOnline.com. We are presented by Mungenast St. Louis Acura, Royal Banks of Missouri, and Fast Eddie's Bon Air in Alton, Illinois. That 29-cent peel and each shrimp sure will be nice today with all of the baseball going on, especially the Cardinals starting here at 1:07 this afternoon. I'm Joe Roderick. Hey, I'm down at Busch Stadium, joined by Bob Ramsey. Rammer, what's going on? How are you feeling on this first day of Major League Baseball's postseason?
I'm nervous as heck because I'm a Cardinal fan, and so this is a tough series. Both managers, oddly, and I do think it's odd, and I know postseason is a little bit of a different animal, but I think both managers are gambling a little bit, changing up what got them here. And the old thing, a dance with the one who brung you. And both managers are changing things up. That's a dangerous game to play to try and trip the game. As Harry Callahan would say, it's a mighty high price to pay for being stylish.
And of course, you're talking about the lineups. You're talking about the lineups for both teams today. I saw them earlier. I know I sent them to you. I am doing this on my phone right now, as people can see if they're watching. So I'm gonna have to go to you for what the lineups are for today.
Well, I don't have the Phillies in front of me, where I really don't have the Cardinals either. But the Cardinals are changing it up, and I would flip flop 4 players. Oli Marmol is going with Lars Nootbaar leading off, Albert Pujols second, then Goldschmidt, Arenado, and then hitting 5th, Brendan Donovan, and then the rest of the guys behind that. And I see what Ollie's doing, but again, he finally found a leadoff hitter, and he went with him. And I think I would have flipped the Nootbaar and Brendan, and I would have flip-flopped Goldschmidt and Pujols if I was going to do that. So I can't say I love what he did here. Pujols can't run at all. And unless you're hitting home runs, you're not going to be able to score him without 2 or 3 more base hits. And it's only moving him down 1 spot, but we know Goldschmidt, while not fast, is a tremendous base runner. So I don't love what Ollie's done. Now, if everybody hits, doesn't really matter where you're batting. But go ahead.
Well, you're saying, I mean, I've talked to a few other people down here today, and we discussed that possibility of putting Goldschmidt second instead of Pujols. And the biggest thing is that base running. That if a ball is hitting the gap, who's scoring from first base? Who has a better chance of scoring from first base? Is it Paul Goldschmidt or is it Albert Pujols? And that answer is Paul Goldschmidt.
Without a doubt.
So I think that's what you look at, and that's a big thing in a playoff game to have somebody that can run the bases and can score a run like that in a big moment. So I was surprised by it. We haven't seen Paul Goldschmidt move out of that 3 spot since he was there earlier in the season. He was batting second earlier in the season, so I don't know if maybe it's just a comfort, if it's comfortability being there in the 3 spots, but Oli Marmol did not make that change, and we saw the idea. We saw him toying with Albert in the 2 spot. We thought that was just for him to get more at bats and get chase 700. But now, when the games matter, there's no milestones to catch anymore outside of a 3rd World Series.
Yeah, everybody's got to hit for it to work. I just don't care for the construction. Although I'm only talking about flipping a couple of guys, so maybe it won't matter. Maybe people will hit and it'll be fine. Now, what the Phillies have done all year long when they've had their guys in the lineup, Schwarber leading off, Hoskins second, Harper third, Real Muto fourth. Flip-flopping Real Muto and Harper. Having your best player not in the top 3, I think the Phillies are asking for trouble too.
And Rob, I went to the Phillies press conference, the Phillies presser before the game. I sat in there. I heard, I got quotes from Rob Thompson, from Bryce Harper, and Aaron Nola, tomorrow's starter. We'll talk more about that tomorrow on the show. But, he had talked about the fact that it's all because Quintana's pitching, that it was purely because Quintana's there and he's trying to spread out the lefties Also knowing that the Cardinals have 3 lefties in their bullpen today too. The rosters came out. Paul DeJong is on the roster, for those wondering, for those that haven't seen it yet. But they are going to carry 3 lefties in the bullpen with Matz, Packy Naughton, and also Thompson, Zach Thompson. Jordan Montgomery, he's also out there too, but Jordan Montgomery, he's a Game 3 starter, a possibility for you if the series gets to Sunday. So that's what his role is out there.
Yeah, the difference with the Phillies is they didn't do it against lefties during the season. Again, I completely understand postseason is a different animal. I think managers are trying to get too clever, and so we'll see who it works out for best. I do see splitting those guys up, but if they wanted to split them up, what they should have done was put Schwarber fourth and Harper leading off.
Get your best player at bats. And I mean, Bryce Harper's hungry. Bryce Harper wants to win. Bryce Harper signed an enormous contract to come here to Philadelphia back in 2019. And just think of what he went through. He leaves the Nationals for all of that money, and then they go and win the World Series without him. I mean, he doesn't act like there's a lot of pressure on him to succeed. I think when you listen to him talk and you watch him play, but something like that is just eating at a guy like Bryce Harper, knowing that he left a team that won a World Series, and this is finally the first time he's in the postseason.
Well, sure, and also just simply because he's a competitor. And the drive that makes him a great player is what makes him hungry for postseason success. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you have that, and I forgot too. I mean, they talked about bullpen construction. If you ask anybody from the Phillies media here about what the biggest weakness is for this Phillies team, they will tell you. They will quickly tell you it's the bullpen. They are terrified to go into their bullpen. It is so important for Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola to give you more than 6 innings.
Yeah, 7 innings. That's right.
You need to. Those guys need to be in the 7th inning of both of these games if the Phillies are going to have a chance to win it. Yeah.
And the other thing is, and they don't make a big deal about it, and you can't just look at numbers of errors, but runs saved. The Phillies defense is not great.
Right.
And so the Cardinals hitters have to put the ball in play. Must. It's got to be a must. And back to the Cardinal lineup thing. One of the things Ollie may have been thinking is that Nootbaar hitting 5th is more likely a strikeout victim than Donovan. I still think it's trying to get too tricky, and I don't like it.
We will see how it plays out here. 1:07 start time for that game here at Busch Stadium. Also, too, I do want to say that earlier today during Bryce Harper's interview portion of his press conference, he was asked. I was about to ask him. I had my hand up for the microphone, and Bob Nightingale got to the mic before me and asked about what it's like watching Albert Pujols play this year. Bryce Harper being such a fan of the game, and Harper said that when he walked over here today, he goes, "I looked up at that sign and I saw the number 700, and I thought, God, that's a lot of homers." Also, too, it was asked if Bryce Harper has any kind of memorabilia autographed by Pujols or by Yadier Molina, and he said no, he doesn't. But he said he's considering asking Yadi after this series is over for one of his Jordan Brand chest protectors.
Oh, that'd be cool. Have Yadi sign it, hang it on a wall. That'd be pretty cool.
I think Bryce Harper asking that is somebody that likely would get a favor like that done for him.
You know, for a guy who came up and, I admit I'm an old guy, kind of old school. I like players that play with flair, but you wondered, is this guy going to be a hot dog when he first came up?
Yep.
But the more he plays, the more he watches, the more you read about him, the more you watch him do interviews. He is great for the game of baseball, and I root for Bryce Harper.
I'm a big fan of Bryce Harper. I really am, and his story is a really cool one for how good of a player he has turned out to be with all of the pressure that was put on him as a teenager, as a 16-year-old. But you know what? Hey, his postseason story can start after this year. It could start after this year as we get ready for game number 1 of the Wild Card Series. And hey, all of our daily cards here, all postseason long, brought to you by Royal Banks of Missouri, Mungenast St. Louis Acura, Fast Eddie's Bonaire in Alton, Illinois. Head on down there today. Oh, it's gonna be a beautiful day for baseball. I bet they have that roof open for the afternoon game today.
Yes.
Watching baseball out there, play hooky on a Friday, and head on down to Fast Eddie's in Alton, Illinois, as we wrap up our show for today. Hey, he's Bob Ramsey. I'm Joe Roderick out here at Busch Stadium. Look at the concourse starting to fill up with folks out here getting ready to watch some playoff baseball here at Busch Stadium. And hey, all of this right here on ClaibsOnline.com.